The gray area. The gray area. The gray area.
Hello again. Welcome to another episode of the Gray Area Podcast. I am, as I've always been, once was, or maybe never been. Anyway, it's Whisker Biscuit here with you again, and I'm joined by none other than the world famous Phoenix of PhoenixTV.
We're big in Cambodia.
That's right, deep in the Earth's crust, in a fallout shelter, where he conducts all his world-dominating shit.
Fecal.
Exactly. So today we actually came across this this hot button in the world of sports. There's some really big shakeups going on in the wide world of sports today. Oh, well, not today, the other day. We do news in past tense and try to pass it off as present tense.
And even further in the past whenever this finally releases.
Oh, that's right. You're exactly right.
But that means we'll have all the facts after we've recorded this.
Okay. Hang on, let me adjust my volume a little bit. Hang on.
I need a boom.
Like a sonic boom?
Like the adjustable arm thingy.
Yeah. I wish you could see how I have my microphone. I have the stand collapsed and hooked around the top of the computer. It's kind of genius. But not as how nature intended, though.
Well, I don't know if you're aware, but this thing's not incredibly heavy, but it's not small. And I'm having to hold it at an angle.
Well, it's like a fucking R2-D2 or something like that. On some type of weird stand.
Did you know Grant Imahara once piloted R2-D2?
Who?
Grant Imahara, formerly of Mythbusters fame. The Asian.
No, I was blissfully unaware of that, as I am with most things in this world.
'Tis true.
Okay, but anyway, so apparently there is a sport, and it's called race walking. Now we've all, or at least I'd like to think we've all seen the little old ladies at the malls and various places just walking their ass off and just doing laps like it's cool all around inside the mall and whatnot. And we think of that as kind of race walking, but I never actually knew that it was a true, legit sport, right?
Olympic level.
Yeah, see, I didn't know that, as I don't know most things. But, and not only that, apparently it's kind of big. It kind of has a real following behind it. And
about 3 miles an hour.
Yes. And with the craziest hip movements ever. Have you ever seen Ace Ventura, Pet Detective?
Yes.
Well, do you remember how he walked in that movie?
Like a little old lady doing laps.
Yeah, well, no, he had this hip movement like he was just throwing that shit side to side. Yeah. Like he's trying to attract a mate, like a peacock with his feathers spread or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently that's part of the technique. You don't just walk fast, you like put your hips into it. Like, even if I lose, I'm gonna fuck tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like whenever Kiss sang the song Strutter, I think that's what they were talking about. If you people don't know, just hop on YouTube for a second and look up race walking competition, and you'll see these people. And granted, they're athletes now. They're walking really, really fucking fast. But they're throwing their hips side to side, like just again, like they're strutting. But anyway, for those of you who don't know, who've never been privy to this, you should really check it out. But that's not quite the subject.
Somehow,
the world,
that's not the story.
Exactly. But anyway, the world of race walking has been rocked to its core by a goddamn scandal. Apparently, there's been some big doping issue. Am I understanding this right?
If I recall the story, which I read only in glancing and then forwarded along to you, there was a Russian coach who had a history of doping his competitors.
Oh my God.
Or doping his... Yeah, I guess they are competitors, but his team, not everyone else. That wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, and they're looking to weigh in against this guy. I guess the whatever governing body that governs Russian race walking is ready to throw the book at this ne'er-do-well coach who's hopping or blowing the minds of the elite levels of race walkers. Tell me how that makes you feel. Whenever I tell you that there's a coach who takes his athletes, and not just one or two, but apparently his whole stable of athletes, and by hook or crook, I don't know, puts them on performance-enhancing substances. How does that make you feel? You think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
To aware or unaware, give the people who pay you money or are supposed to trust you with their health and well-being, and you're feeding them something that is unawares to them, is not good.
I read the article the other day, but I don't remember all the ins and outs of it. But granted, I've had lots of shots in my day, and there's only been really maybe one or two occasions where I didn't know that I was getting a shot, and I'm assuming that these things come in or administered needle form. I don't know this. I'm just pretending like I know how Russians dope their athletes. I don't know. I'm going to assume that these coaches or this coach knew I'm going to assume that these athletes knew what they were getting into. I'm going to assume that.
That would be relatively fair. I've never been one to really believe those who are like, I didn't know it was being put into me. You didn't. That's pretty stupid. You know everyone else who's failed their drug tests. You should be asking, hey, what's this needle you just stuck me with?
Yeah. I mean, there could be some level of fuckery there, but I've never taken, I guess what would be traditionally considered performance-enhancing drugs, but I have taken less than legal substances in my life, and I've taken, other things in my day, Tylenols and aspirins and Excedrin migraine, by the way, best thing for a headache. I've taken that, taken Tums for heartburn, and almost universally, every time that something has come into my body, or I've taken something into my body, I've noticed some type of change.
Yeah.
Now the truth can't be said with like vaccinations per se, that I had when I was a kid. But in general, there's a cause and effect there. I know something went into my body. I'm looking to see what type of change my body's going through now. So that's a fair assumption, I think.
I would agree.
Good. Good. So now we're assuming that these people knew that they were taking something that may or may not, in the world of race walking, have been legal.
Okay.
So now the question remains: is this an ethical move? I mean, I know they're raising hell about it, but people raise hell about a lot of things that mean absolutely nothing. So, as I said, the question is this an ethical, legit move?
Do I think that it's fair for athletes to be taking some sort of substance that improves their ability to do whatever it is they're trying to do?
Yes. How do you feel about that?
I feel that overall it's a bad move.
Okay. Show your work.
For example, one of the often cited things is that steroids are noted to have a multitude of health side effect issue things.
Mm-hmm. Such as?
Such as, I wish I'd done my homework.
Oh. Well.
I wasn't prepared with notes.
Oh, that's okay. I wasn't either. That's all right. I still love you. There are a lot of negative effects that have been reported with steroids. I've known my fair share of individuals who took them. Now, granted, none of them long term, but I've known several people throughout my life who took them for weight training and had significant gains off of them. But I don't personally know, the long-term effects on a personal level. But I've heard things such as shrinking testicles, growing what I like to call chesticles or boobs.
Yeah.
Mammaries, I guess. Acne, irritability, and those are some of the short-term things. Long-term, it's my understanding that the people who really hit these things and hit them hard tend not to live very long. I'm wanting to say it's they usually die of heart conditions, but again, I'm just making assumptions here off of things that I've heard in the distant past.
Yeah, it's been a while since I had a health class too, but unless I'm throwing in an editor's note right now.
You could be.
Yeah, I could be. Unless I'm throwing in an editor's note right there, I can't think of any specific issues other than I recall them definitely being bad, causing long-term heart issues. Mm-hmm. It's killed many wrestlers in one way or another. Football players aren't in great shape because of it. Baseball players are getting paid way too much money to cheat.
Well, now I can see your point, and I'm not going to totally disagree with you. However, I happen to be an individual who believes in 100% personal sovereignty. So,
I agree.
On an individual level, I'm not even talking about sports right now. On an individual level, I believe that you, Phoenix, of PhoenixTV, that everybody should watch, has the sovereign right to put whatever substance that you want into your body. Now, granted, it may not be a smart choice, but if you want to take your wiener and you want to insert it into a wood chipper, That is your right as a sovereign, sentient being.
Okay, now I have a counterpoint to that.
Okay.
What if sticking your metaphorical wiener in the metaphorical wood chipper tears up said wood chipper and it's not yours? Well, you've now ruined someone else's equipment for your decision.
Exactly. Now, I don't remember. There's I wish I could remember the Latin words for the Malamanse and Malaman Carlos Mencia or some shit like that. I don't remember, so yeah. I won't try to put that out there. Anyway, there is a fundamental difference in the things that solely affect you and the things that affect everybody else around you as a result of your actions.
Right.
So, but we're getting a little bit ahead here. I want to make it clear my stance on it. You can put whatever you want to into your body. You can do whatever you want to your body and with your body, as long as it doesn't affect other people.
Okay.
So, I think the question comes down to, because you're doing something that is now affecting other people. Right. Now, I don't buy into the bullshit of, well, the kids are seeing these guys doing X, Y, Z. It's not, I don't know. I don't feel like other individuals who are, I'm sure they know that they have the potential to be, but I don't believe people are responsible for random kids throughout the world. People make the argument of, oh, they're influencing the youth of America. Everything is influencing the youth of America. Everything is influencing everybody everywhere around the world at all times. So I truly don't feel like that's a valid argument. But at the same time, I can see the point where if I am, eating horse nuts and it's making my biceps grow the size of bowling balls, and the person that I'm competing against is not eating these horse nuts, and his biceps are not the size of bowling balls, that is truly unfair. So I think the way I see it right here, right now, at this moment, in my weird hamster brain, with the wheel really slow, kind of rusty, it seems like to me that we have, at its essence, a debate between my personal right to put whatever I want to in my body, to get my body to achieve literally, maybe not purely, but literally the most it can do. By that same argument, if you want to turn yourself into a cyborg and that you're just getting your brain to do whatever the fuck ever that you can get a cyborg to do, does that individual liberty trump the whole spirit of fair competition?
I feel as if it's a combat sport or a contact sport, you're then risking the health of someone else who is not using them. And if it's a non-contact sport, you're also potentially taking money out of their pocket. Despite the fact they may work harder, be naturally better, be a more sporting, and however else you want to refer to it, you're unfairly getting an advantage for you because of something a doctor did, not something you did.
Yeah. Okay. I can see your point. So I think maybe we can break this down into a level of honesty. Now, just hang in there with me, Kitty. Hang in there. So it's not outside of the realm of possibility that individual A eating the horse nuts can say to individual B, who's not eating the horse nuts, hey, I'm eating the horse nuts. Do you still want to compete with me? And individual B can say yes, or individual B can say no. And they can find individual C who is like, yes, I too am eating horse nuts. I will compete with individual A. And meanwhile, individual B could then find individual D who says, no, I never touched horse nuts. I'll be more than happy to compete with individual B. Now, would you say that's could be considered fair?
It is, until one discovers that people like to watch the home run. People like to watch people who are unfairly advantaged. And so then person A is going to realize that there is no person D, because person B, C, and D are all wanting to make more money, because everyone's paying more money to watch them hit home runs, jump 10 yards, diving at someone else head first, or being able to punch harder and recover better in training than person A.
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely see your point. Yeah,
so that at this point, person A is now forced, if he wants to achieve the highest level, he's forced to put something into his body he doesn't want to, which is also proven to have serious and long-term health effects.
I want to address that here in a minute. Don't let me forget. I want to get back to that, because there's an upshot to that. But we'll get to that here in a second. I see your point there. I don't know, man. That's I'm trying to see both sides of that in my head. Yeah, that is a bit of fuckery, where an individual who is more of a purist would be forced into doing something that he doesn't want to do to compete with a non-purist.
The most prevailing argument I've heard to that is that, well, once they do it, they're making millions of dollars. They can take care of themselves. They know what they're getting into.
Yeah.
And to that, I've always said, number one, not everyone is making $100 million over 6 years to throw a ball. Many of them aren't making that much and are losing that much, and it's not good. And the part that I really don't like, and you touched on it earlier, but I feel that this is a point that still needs to be brought up, is there are a lot of people who try to be a pro and aren't a pro for whatever reason. So now, if we do have the home run league, we now have all the kids in high schools and college who aren't getting paid a dime on the home run league stuff, who made no money and now have all the health problems.
That's a very real possibility, but it goes back to the whole. Again, I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying eating 50 pounds of horse nuts a day is good for you. But it jumps back into my whole bit about personal sovereignty. Not saying it's good. Not saying that you're going to live a long time if you do this. I'm not condoning it. But at the same time, I feel that more than anything, you should be educated rather than restricted about such things. I feel. I'm not saying this is the correct answer. I'm just going off my gut feelings, because we haven't seen the result of deregulation. We haven't seen that. The whole world might deregulate horse nuts in mass amounts tomorrow, and the whole world just erupts into chaos, and the meteor comes and wipes us all off the face of the earth, all because we legalized large amounts of horse nuts for our children. So we don't know. So I'm just going off of the way I feel. I don't even know if I want to call it my opinion. I'm just trying to look at the full spectrum of this thing. I feel like these people, as long as they're educated about the pros and cons of horse nuts, can put the horse nuts in their body.
Now, does this apply to the pros or the kids whose brains won't develop for the next 10 years?
I'm gonna go with adults.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with adults. There's that definite time frame of when you can make a rational decision for yourself.
Right.
And again, you know, I can't say for certain, but by competing in sports of any type, maybe, just speaking hypothetically, maybe there should be some amount of education that goes along with participating in these sports about this is what HGH, human growth hormone, is, or this is what Decabol is, or this is what substance whatever is. This is what horse nuts is. This is what horse nuts does good for you. This is what horse nuts does bad for you. This is case studies have found X, Y, and Z. And that information should be, maybe, again, hypothetically, this information could walk hand in hand with the very act of competing in this sport on whatever level.
Being a nerd, there's a subgenre of game called free-to-play. And they are, as they sound, they don't cost anything to play them. You can download them, play them, up to a certain point in a lot of cases, and just go there. And then there's those who can pay money and get more stuff, be it accessories such as clothes or alternate character skins that don't affect the game. Then there's those who can buy Excalibur, and suddenly anything you touch dies instantly. How would it be fair for one to be educated on this and see, well, you're now allowing other person to pay for the drugs to make themselves better, or pay in the form of damage to one's own body, whereas someone else is, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to die at age 40. That gives one person a distinct advantage indiscriminately of how good or bad he is. In theory, if they come up with super cyborg technology, Johnny Billionaire can have his kid be 98% robot, have a brain, and then he can be the best sports player in the world.
Oh, we're getting into a totally different argument here. That's another show.
It's a performance enhancing technology.
Yes, it is. But you were talking about a guy buying some shit for his kid, where
HGH costs money.
Yeah, they all cost money. You're right. They do all cost money.
And poor kid X, who's better at sports, can't afford it as compared to rich kid Y, who's maybe not as good at sports.
Well, maybe not. I don't know, man. I feel like the real issue comes down to honesty. Just like we have weight classes, just like we have male divisions and female divisions within the world of jiu-jitsu, they have not only male and female divisions, and they have weight classes, but they also have age divisions. I don't see why we couldn't alleviate this to some degree with just an honesty. Say, okay, these guys want to compete like this. All right, here's their division. Versus these guys are purists. They don't want to compete like this. Here's their division.
And theoretically, how do you punish person who claims to be clean, who then find out, oh, they've been cheating this entire time and just saying they weren't?
Oh, voraciously. No slap on the wrist. If you're in an organization, you know, something that pissed me off with the whole McGuire and Bonds, the Congress got involved. This is not a job for Congress. What the fuck is Congress doing looking at baseball? But anyway, yeah, we'll deal with that shit another time. If you're the MLB, NFL, and whoever the fuck, whatever sports regulating entity, you find out an individual, you've cheated, basically. There's no other way to put it. You've cheated. And it makes it so much worse because you had this outlet. You could have gone with the accelerated division and through enhancements, you could have put your body at the very pinnacle and seen what it could do. You had opportunity to operate within that whole genre, but you chose to be dishonest and operate within, to basically be dominant over someone potentially less able than you are. It's unforgivable at that point. You had the opportunity, which you did, but you did it dishonestly by competing against infants, if you will. Just husks of your ability. At that point, there's no more hope for you. You're gone. You're done. That's it.
Okay.
Or I could be wrong. I could be full of shit.
And
that's just my idea. That's how I feel.
And I'll ask, where do you draw the line on what you can and can't use?
Again, personal sovereignty.
Well, is there going to be an entire division for those who will take Tylenol, but then there's a division for those who won't take anything?
I mean, all that shit exists now. I will say that people get in trouble for taking things that are not performance enhancing. Like individuals in the UFC have gotten in trouble and paid fines and penalties and stuff for marijuana. Come on now. Come on. Marijuana doesn't help you build muscle mass. It might expand your mind a little bit. It might, there's some things, if you can take a multivitamin, then you should be able to smoke weed if you want to. I don't care. That's fine. Things such as that have no business being regulated by a sports entity.
But I'm asking, how do you determine what the special division has as compared to what the purist division doesn't have? What can the purist take?
There's pretty now we're splitting hairs into a science that I know absolutely nothing about. I mean, I know, of course, some of the big names are absolutely the blow your mind, or excuse me, let me back up. The blow your muscles to kingdom come at an accelerated rate. All that stuff is known, and in what forms that it's available in is known. It's I mean, there's a dividing line there that's known by somebody that's more involved than I am. There's a big difference in taking a multivitamin versus taking HGH or Pure Test and things of that nature. I mean, there's a difference in eating healthy and injecting octane booster into your veins. It's a difference. It's weighed and measured, and we can test these things. The testing is available.
I guess I'm trying to ask, is something like, at what point does it become, well, these cheaters will use this thing, but those cheaters won't use a different thing? And so then there's a split within the non-pure division in itself.
I don't know. I don't have an answer to that. I'm not qualified, nor have I done any real in-depth research in order to answer your question properly. I wish I did, but I don't know. But I think yours is not a question that can't be answered. I mean, we have ways and means of weighing and measuring said argument, and I mean, we're not even there. They can cross that bridge when they come to it. We're still arguing over personal sovereignty here versus purity.
Oh, I think that a person who has no bearing on anyone else should be able to do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
You can eat as many horse nuts as you want until you have to compete against someone else who may have access to more, or may realize that it's scientifically not good for you and chose not to take them, or what have you.
Yeah.
I don't mind if the person down the road is on horse nuts, so long as they don't stick their wiener in my wood chipper.
And break your wood chipper with their horse nuts.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think we're on the same wavelength on that. We want to protect your wood chipper at all costs. That's for your wood chipper is yours to break, and yours alone. But there's also something else I want to touch on with this, because I feel like we've kind of demonized these substances a little bit, or actually in their entirety. But there's a lot of research and a lot of good things happening. I don't know about like HGH. I have no clue. That stuff might be completely a monkey on your back and put you in an early grave. But like testosterone replacement therapy.
Yeah, it's great if you're a 40-year-old who wants to feel 20 again.
Well, yeah, and even younger than that. Like, I'm considering looking into it myself personally.
Right.
I truly am. They're finding that increasing people's testosterone levels are now helping people with depression. They're helping people. I'm talking men now. I can't speak for women, but people who suffered traumatic brain injury and things of that nature, testosterone replacement therapy. And I'm not a doctor. I don't know how the fuck they figure all this shit, but apparently what I'm hearing, the science is showing that with testosterone, they're improving people's lives. Not with these big crazy doses of horse nuts, but with measured doses for the individuals. Say, okay, this guy needs this and that guy needs this. Not trying to blow their mind, but just trying to incrementally improve their lives.
Get them out from below average.
Exactly. And I don't know that science. I don't know a great many things, but I know they're doing some positive shit with some of the stuff that we're demonizing.
Absolutely. That's like the one good point anyone can bring up, at least to my mind, who's way too far off of the gray area at this point. I'm very much in a dark gray area of it. But I'm about the 48th shade. That's like the one positive anyone can point out is that, well, there is a lot of research being done about it. As we try and help A-Rod hit more home runs, we're figuring out that, oh, well, if someone doesn't take the entire needle full, he has a better life. As long as it's measured.
Yeah. And there's been, we're getting into another subject here, but that's been the case with a lot of drugs throughout history. Like, what is that one? Give me just a second.
For the pacifist nerds out there, video games are directly attached to the history of war.
Oh, yeah.
The first video games were made on oscilloscopes by people in the military.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Hashtag the more you know. What the fuck is the name of that stuff? Ecstasy. Whenever ecstasy was, I don't know if it was first developed, but at some point in time before it became the a Schedule 1 substance, Schedule 1, meaning that is completely illegal in the United States and has no medicinal value whatsoever. Before they came out with that horse shit, it was actually used in couples therapy, and it was for everything that I understand, it was used and widely used and working out well until, you know, the whole rule about moderation was violated, and then the government just had a knee-jerk reaction, said, oh, bad, no good, Schedule 1. But that, my friends, is another story for another day.
Indeed. I suppose the viewers on their own account will have to weigh and measure the benefits to those who gain good things from these various drugs and medicinal techniques and what have yous to improve their life in whatever way, as weighed against the pros dying young and the kids having health issues that they don't have any money to pay for.
Well, I'm not talking about the kids at this moment. The adults, if they want, again, it's their body. As long as they're educated, as long as there are clear lines say, you can do this. This is your body. You can put whatever you want into your own body. You have personal sovereignty, but just know that this might be the price you pay. As long as that education is there, who am I to tell you that, well, you can't cut your life in half to do the thing that makes you most happy? Because I personally am an individual who believes that above, well, not above, but just past, I need to eat, I need to stay warm, I need shelter, just above those things, and in the importance ladder, if you will, happiness trumps it all, other than the basics I just mentioned. So who am I to tell you that you can't seek out and achieve happiness through these things, even at the cost of your very... I have no business telling you when you can live and when you can die. That's not for me to decide. That's not for me to try to regulate.
Until your happiness infringes on someone else's.
Exactly.
Which is where it turns into a competition against someone else trying to protect their body and own happiness and income.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And but we've already touched on all that shit.
We've race-walked the entire lap around it.
You're damn right. And we had our hips just twerking it. Just fucking going. Just twerking it side to side. Seriously, folks, if you don't look at anything else in your life just do yourself a favor and watch 30 little bitty dudes just sitting there throwing their hips out like a, oh, you wish your wife would throw her hips out like this. It's amazing. But anyway, I think that's all the time we got for today. You got anything you want to plug there, Phoenix?
No, if I plug my channel any more than you did, they're going to think that I'm paying you.
Oh, will you pay me? Is that an option?
No, but I'll edit for free.
Oh, fuck. Okay, we're done here. PhoenixTV, go check it out. That's it. Whisker Biscuit, as always. Have a peach of a day. We're out of here. This is a Gray Area Podcast. And for fuck's sake, if you want to talk to us here at the Gray Area Podcast, you can email us at thegrayareapodcast@yahoo.com, or you can find me on Facebook, The Gray Area Podcast, or you can twatter all over my chest at Twitter. That's at The Gray Area PC. This isn't how I planned it. This is not how I wanted this to go.